So then, with Ruben Amorim set to join Manchester United, today is the perfect time to go over and rebuild them once again, but with an Amorim tactic and bring in some players I think he might be attracted to. If you do enjoy the rebuilds, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. And once again, if you want to get this rebuild file at the end of the video and also the tactics, that is all of my tactics, all of my rebuilds, you can find the Patreon in the link below, where there's probably over 100 files, all for your enjoyment. So be sure to go over and check it out. Let's get into the rebuild. So then, I didn't even really need to do this part because we know Manchester United, the biggest team in world football. I do support them as well. A 4.5-star reputation side, should be 5. 4-star training, 4-star youth, and 4-star youth recruitment. The owners apparently love the club. I beg to differ. The bank balance is looking somewhat decent. Of course, we do have a little bit of debt going on at the club. In fact, a fair bit of debt, but I'm still making my signings. Now, going over to the overview, what haven't we won? 3 Champions Leagues, 20 Premier Leagues, 1 Club World Championship, 1 European Cup, 13 FA Cups, 1 UEFA Super Cup, 1 UEFA Europa League, 1 Intercontinental, 2 Sky Bet Championships, 6 Carabao Cups, and 21 English Community Shields. And obviously, Ten Hag come in, won a couple trophies, but he was 14th in the league, so his dismissal, it was fair enough. But I think the real big talk here is, Josh, how are you going to rebuild? Are you doing signings in Transfer 1? I'm not, because when Amorim comes in, he's not going to come in and magically be able to sign 10 players, is he? So we're going to go in with the same team, but utilise his tactic. And this was a version of his tactic I made a while ago. I will be posting a new version on my main channel, which is Josh Daly, after I've sort of figured out what I personally think he's 100% going to do with the Manchester United team. I almost need to see him play with United at least 2 or 3 times to try and make that happen, but I'll see what I can do. Now, going over to the players that are going to be leaving, because I just feel like I don't want them, Rashford is up for debate. I'm going to need an offer of around about 80 to 90 million to somewhat tempt me to do it, but for the first season, he will not be leaving. Players that will be leaving is going to consist of Bruno Fernandes. I am going to move on, purely because I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens when he does move on, and if he was to leave and stuff like that, so he is going to be getting sold. Mason Mount is also going to be on the shortlist. Another player is also going to be Joshua Zirkzee. He's not been good in real life and therefore is going to be put on the transfer list just after 1 year at the club. A little bit harsh, but deserved. Victor Lindelof is also going to be put on the transfer list. Again, only if we are getting sensible offers. He's not a horrific player, but also he's not a star player. We can definitely get someone in better. If we are able to get around £20 million, then we can offload Victor Lindelof as well. A player which is pretty common sense is going to be Casemiro. He can honestly, I will pay someone to take him. He can leave as soon as he can leave. Anthony, the same story's going to apply. Usually on Football Manager though, you're forced to loan him out. No one usually wants to buy him. I wonder why. So we're going to try and get rid of him, that has to be said. Eriksen, again, a fantastic player, but he is 32. We are trying to rebuild for the future, so he is also going to be put on the transfer list. Another player, Harry Maguire. This is going to be a proper clear out, I will say. He is also going to go on the transfer list. Again, reminder, £80 million this man cost. Leicester are still probably laughing to this day, to be honest. And lastly, a player who I'm going to give a chance to. Jadon Sancho, I'm going to keep when he comes back from loan. And I'm going to try him in this exciting 3-4-3 system because he might thrive. You never know. That is the beauty about having a new manager coming in. Now, what I will say is, looking at this team, we still have tons and tons of really positives. We've got Højlund, we've got Diallo, we've got Dalot, we've got Shaw. The backline's looking really nice. We'll obviously a fit Yora in there as well. Now, what I'm going to do is I am going to sim season 1, as we always do, but the main aim is I am going to go into this simulation, by ticking this box here. Only sell transfer listed players. So we are going to make sales halfway through the season, which should give us a big budget going into the second transfer window. Hopefully that is the case. Now, of course, in this first season, we are playing in 5 competitions. The Premier League, the Europa League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Community Shield. Honestly, I'm hoping I can win at least 1 trophy. That would be ideal. And, of course, finish in the top 4. However, they are predicting a finish of 5th place. So we are going to have to overachieve to make that dream happen. 18 to 1 to win the league, which, you know, I'm going to say it, I wouldn't put a bet on me either at the moment because this team isn't ready to win the league. There's several things I'm going to look at with this tactic because obviously this was tested with Sporting. Manchester United are a whole different kettle of fish. So I might consider, you know, dropping the line potentially, dropping these 2 players into a little bit of a deeper area. We're going to see what happens, see how the games go. But let's get into season 1 with this new Amorim system. The same players, let's see what happens. So we're going to get the Premier League out of the way first because it is actually a positive. We didn't win it, obviously, but in real life, they're 14th in the game. We finished 3rd, so it's definitely an improvement. Marcus Rashford, the top goal scorer. So despite being transfer listed, he has stayed loyal and had a good season. So he might actually be a part of the future plans. We only lost 7 games, which, to be honest with you, considering it's a brand new system, we're not fully cut out for it. I was expecting worse. So in my opinion, it's a great first season. We also have an appearance in the FA Cup final against Newcastle, where we are going to go 1-0 up with Mason Mount. Again, clearly has stayed inside of 12 minutes there and involved in this goal as well. Xerxes also being a figure there and getting a goal. Maybe he's trying to prove me wrong that he should be in the team. With Højlund going through, and he's surely going to pass it. He isn't. He's going to go alone and make it 3-0. They are going to get a consolation literally in the last kick of the game. But as you can see, we still have a 2-goal advantage. Win. They're also going to lift that English Community Shield on penalties against Manchester City. So overall, it is going to be 2 trophies. 1 knocked out, unfortunately, in the semi-finals of that Europa League against Tottenham Hotspur. And as for the Carabao Cup, the 4th round by Liverpool. But still, let's look at the positives. We've got Champions League football, once again, in Season 1, with 0 signings. We'll see what players have left us as well, by the way. We've won the FA Cup and the Community Shield. So far, we're winning trophies. We've got Champions League football back. Have we started to clear out players, though? Transfers. Well, here we go. You can see right now, right off the bat, 2 players going out is going to be Casemiro to Real Madrid for 28.5 million. And Bruno Fernandes also to Real Madrid for 79 million. Anyone else? Let's go and have a little look so we can go and see. We have got the big boys here. So Victor Lindelof also has gone to Tottenham Hotspur, who obviously finished inside of 5th place. Jadon Sancho, of course, went on loan. That's not really a biggie at all. Other than that, Antony went out on loan to RB Leipzig. Did he do anything? He done absolutely nothing, so hopefully we can try and sell him. Other than that, nothing really big happened, to be honest with you, apart from the... Actually, Harry Maguire, a loan stint at Napoli, where he dropped to 6.84. I've seen a lot worse, so he did get some game time. That's quite interesting. But of course, how much money? How much money have we been given? 127 million. Now, that might be before we've got the money for these 2 as well. So we'll see what happens. A minimum of 130 million to go and spend. How did the players do? We'll have a little look at the goals. So we've got 38 for Rashford, 20 for Xerxes, 19 for Diallo. Fernandes, who's obviously... is he going out? He's on loan at Madrid. So he's actually on loan and joining permanent. How much did he play for us then? He played, okay, yeah, he played almost everything. Fair play. Okay, so that's completely fine. Højlund 14, 11 for Mason Mount. Garnacho with 8. And assist-wise, we have got a load of people coming in with assists. But what I will say is, if we go back to this screen here, if we go over and actually go by the best 11, this is going to be a real good indicator because we have got Harry Maguire. He will probably leave on the permanent, so he is out of the 11. So let's just go away right and remove that. We are then going to go over and look at the likes of Bruno Fernandes. He is going to be gone. We know that. Antony probably going to be gone. Garnacho, he should be staying. Where is Garnacho gone? Am I blind? Where is Garnacho gone? Please be in the team, Garnacho. Here he is. Garnacho is staying. Now, that is very good because that would have been a bit of a worry. He is not going anywhere. We've also got the likes of Jadon Sancho coming back, who... Did he have a good season? Let's ignore that because he didn't have a great season, but I am going to give him a chance. Casemiro's going. We have got a lot of players we need to try and bring in because our team is going down and down and down in size. Now, I will say if we actually go over and look at the squad, for example, if we go and look at the under-21s and the under-18s, we have got some players here, and Harry Amas, of course, a very good player, and Amir right there. 2 players. And Kobbie Mainoo, who, by the way, has been bumped down here. I do not like that at all. Let's just get Kobbie right back into that senior team because I did not even notice that. How I miss Kobbie is criminal. He is right back in there. You've seen me do it. Don't worry. He's going to be given a chance. That is an absolute joke. God knows why he was there. But let's get into the official first transfer window, but technical second transfer window, and see what we can do. So we're also going to finally loan out Joshua Xerxes this season. He went to West Ham and scored 8 goals inside of 21 appearances. It's not bad, but it's definitely not perfect. Evans is going to go over and join Marseille on the free after a ton of time at Manchester United and, of course, Leicester. Do you know what? Nothing but respect for him. What a guy. Unfortunately, we have lost Amad Diallo. He was not interested in a new contract, and he is going to go over and play in the Saudi League for Al Atifiq. I believe so you say that. He went and absolutely cooked. I'll be real, and he is now on 59k a week, which I think was a little bit more than what we could offer him, but it's a bit of a loss. I can't lie. We've also lost Harry Maguire. He has a season at Napoli, then goes to Madrid on the free, and they sacked him off after 2 games. And Porto offered 6.5 million, where he's actually done quite well. And we're going to start off the second transfer window with an instalment signing that is going to be Victor Gyökeres. I believe how you say that, coming in from Sporting, a player who I can really see come into this team for 67 million. He has scored 18 goals in 35 appearances, and this guy here is going to be our star striker for the rest of the rebuild. He looks like a machine. We were linked with, Arsenal was linked with, and I believe Liverpool, it is going to be Morten Hijlumland. I've butchered that, I know I have. However you say it, we're going to call him Morten. I know I've got to work on the pronunciations. We spend £60 million where he plays 34 games, and he drops actually quite an average performance. But do you know what? He is playing fairly deep, because we've now dropped that 3-4-3, back to quite a deep 3-4-3. So he's not going to be scoring loads of goals and getting loads of assists, but as long as he's defending well, which is what I want him to do. He's got 16 tackling, good work rate, good stamina, everything you would want, 18 aggression. He's a perfect DM. We're also going to bring in Kamara from Aston Villa for a grand total of £60 million, where he played 35 games and dropped a 7.04. Again, very similar to the previous player. He's probably more well-rounded, but not as good directly at tackling, stamina, etc., etc. But he's an absolute machine. And considering we got obviously the Bruno Fernandes money, it's basically a 1-for-1 swap. We also are going to go and pick up Jarrod Bowen, again a player who I think one day is going to get a move to a top Premier League team, and I thought, why not give him that chance at Manchester United? He come in for £61 million, and he actually done okay. He played pretty much every game, 9 goals, 13 assists. It's an okay sort of performance, nothing remarkable. Maybe would expect more, but what I will say in his defence, he was playing some games on the left, some games on the right. He even played a game up front, so he was being put all over the gaff a little bit, which maybe affected his sort of, overall concentration being locked into one role. Lastly, only £10 million paid up front, the rest in instalments, is going to be Mark Guehi, coming in for £60 million. He played every game and dropped a 6.97. This is a go-to signing and a player that definitely will be at a top Premier League team in a matter of a year, 2 years tops. He's a solid centre-back, and a top team will come and see him. Look at what he's now valued at, 129 million. And I'm not being funny, but looking at these players we've brought in, Victor, we've got Morten, we've got Kamara, Bowen, Guehi. Yes, we've got nearly 80 million generated from Bruno and Casemiro there, so pretty much another 110 million on top of the 120 odd million we had. We had serious money to spend, so we've been able to bring in 5 incredible players, nearly half a team of improvements. Let's see what that resulted in. Has gained us a place in the Premier League. We are now only 1 place behind Man City, 11 points still, that being said, so they are still clearly the best team in England, and it is going to be our new man coming in with 18 goals, shortly followed behind a very well-performed Marcus Rashford. Luke Shaw and Jarrod Bowen joined second place with the assists, both with 13, and it is going to be Andre Onana down with 14 clean sheets. To be fair, not too far off rank 1. It's a decent season. Make up for that, how about a Champions League win? That is right, against Arsenal, we're going to go 1-0 up inside of 45 minutes just before that half-time whistle, and we go and seal it in the 52nd minute with Jarrod Bowen, who goes alone. What a start. Me, or not unfortunately, because it still is a massive thing to be accomplishing, that is the only thing we're going to win that season. Runners-up in the FA Cup, 1-0 against Arsenal, so I know which one I'd rather win, but they do get their own back technically in a final. The Community Shield, we are also going to lose to Man City by 1 goal as well. And the only real disappointment over the entire season is that loss in the quarterfinals against West Ham in the Carabao Cup. But do you know what? We're 2 seasons in. I've had 1 real transfer window, and we have gone and won a Champions League and got second in the Premier League and got to another English Cup final. So, I mean, we are improving at a very fast rate, and it just goes to show, if you get the right manager in, you let him spend a bit of money, and them signings work out, you're going to be absolutely laughing. Now, of course, we are going to go and see what I've done to the formation. All I done was drop it into a deep 3-4-3, so we've now got a ball-winning midfield player and a DLP, which, of course, if we filter by the best 11, we can see who plays where. And as you can see, it's going to be Onana, De Ligt, Martinez, Guehi, Shaw, Mazraoui, Kamara, Ugarte, Rashford, Bowen, and Victor up front. Now, looking at the team, we've got 36 from Victor, we've got Rashford with 29, 16 for Bowen, and 23 assists. So he has really come in and enjoyed a fantastic season. Going down the team a little bit, Joshua Zirkzee, of course, went out on loan to West Ham. We saw actually scored 13 goals overall in all competitions. Morton come in, obviously in midfield, he would be playing here. He come in and actually scored 7 goals as well, so decent for him. Luke Shaw, 19 assists, and also Mazraoui with 12, so they're also contributing, which is very nice to see. A good amount of assists. A player which a lot of you are probably wondering about is going to be Garnacho. He has come in and scored 14 goals and also dropped 2 assists, so he has done very, very well. The other player who we might want to discuss is going to be Jadon Sancho, 4 and 5. So there's something about Sancho. I do like him. I'm being biased. I know I'm being biased. I don't want to sell him, but he's not doing great. So I might offload him. I just really like him, I'll be honest. So we'll see what happens. But if he doesn't perform, he is going to get pretty much sold. The same can be said with Rasmus. Of course, he's not going to play in over Victor, but he's come in and got 1-1, so it's very, very minor. But of course, when you've got someone like this as your competition, you're nowhere near the same level. You're not going to get in the first team too much. So realistically, we've got a good issue that we've got too many good attackers. It's just a bit of a... It's just very confusing to sort of select who gets to play where, but that's a luxury dream for some teams. I've basically got the Chelsea situation now because I've got Højlund, Xerxes, I've got Victor, I've got Garnacho, I've got Sancho, I've got the likes of Rashford, I've got the likes of Mount that can play there, I've got Bowen, I've got Anthony, I've got so many different players. Speaking of it, I don't know if I actually mentioned Jarrod Bowen. I did actually, with 16 and 23. We've got a lot of different options going on, so we've got to lock into an 11 and stick with it. But to go into the next season, after winning the Champions League, we've got a budget of 54 million, so a bit more of a humble budget compared to last season, but still a lot of money to play with. Let's go over into season 3 and see what happens. So just 2 signings this season. The first one is going to be a freebie because we spent most of our budget on 1 player, so it is going to be Ruben Neves coming in on the free, where he plays almost every game and absolutely dominates the Premier League. He is a serious player, and if we want to be business smart, we can sell him at 31-32 for about 50 million, so that's a big signing. And we are going to spend big. We have now got 3 at the back. We've got to be sensible, bring in some incredible centre-backs, and we are going to go in with Scalvini. 83 million, 45 paid up front. He has come in and played almost every game. Didn't really touch the sort of out of the Premier League because I sort of went out in and out of holiday, sorry. I was keeping him for the Premier League because he's an absolute monster. I wanted to try and win the Premier League, and he has dropped a 7.26. And do you know what? He was a lot of money. He's on a lot of money per week, but he is a perfect centre-back. And do you know what? I'd spend the money over and over. He's incredible. Just to show, sometimes you spend money, you're going to win league titles, and we have won a league title with Manchester United in season number 3, only losing 1 game, which is going to be against Newcastle away. We've got Victor with 30 goals, Rashford with 22, Neves the best player overall in the entire league. That is an incredible signing from me. Marcus Rashford a 7.41, and Neves and Luke Shaw 2nd and 3rd when it comes to the assists. A man I've not talked about at all this video is Andre Onana, picking up 28 clean sheets. Defensively, probably got helped out quite a fair bit by Scalvini, but of course still playing a big part in the team. A very good record from him. Did we win anything else though? Well, the Carabao Cup final, we are going to match up against Tottenham Hotspur. Not an easy team to play, but when you got a player like this up front, scoring inside of 8 minutes, it gets a little bit easier. With Mazraoui finding Bowen, quick link-up play there, back into Mazraoui, and that is a very good goal between 2 players only. Mazraoui again into Scalvini, into Bowen, into Ugarte, who absolutely lashes it into the top left, making it 3-0. Neves delivers into Rashford, who levers it into the... Mate, we are firing on all cylinders. A 4-0 start. Dalot into Jarrod Bowen, goes inside into Victor to make it 5, and they could only get a consolation in the last kick of the game, meaning we are going to win the Carabao Cup 5-1. But also win that Super Cup 3-0 over Aston Villa. A bit of an easier opposition, but we are going to take it. Unfortunately, apart from a friendly cup win, 7-0 over Zurich, we are going to be runners-up in the Champions League. I will say, very annoying to lose to Atletico Madrid, but at least we are getting to back-to-back Champions League finals. That is a positive. And also, this is a big disappointment that is going to be knocked out in the quarter-finals by Leicester City, which is, let's just say, very disappointing. But I mean, Premier League winners, once again, that is big, big news. I mean, it has been some time. I mean, we've got to go back to 2012-13 season, so it's It's been a very long time coming. We're back on top. Obviously, we've won the Super Cup, we've won the Carabao Cup, the Champions League, another final performance, but it is nowhere near perfection. Of course, the perfect season for me would be a Premier League, a Champions League win, and at least one English trophy, being the FA or Carabao Cup. Now, looking over to the tactics, the best 11 we have got at the moment is going to look like this. It is going to be Onana, Scalvini, Martinez, Gurhi. That back three is incredible. Mazraoui, Shaw, Ugarte, Neves, Bowen, Rashford, Victor, and as you can see, Victor isn't slowing down. 58 goals from him, 42 for Rashford, Jarrod Bowen with 14, and assist-wise, you got 10 from Mazraoui, 21 for Neves in that DLP, 16 for Luke Shaw, 19 for Bowen, 26 for Marcus Rashford, and 7 for Victor. Going down the list a little bit, Diego Dalot comes in with 10 assists as well, and other than that, I will say the bench players are very, very quiet, including the Sancho that dropped 4 goals and 3 assists all season. So maybe my bias needs to go out of the window, and we do look to sell him. But I mean, looking at the team, the first team's incredible. This can win a Champions League, it nearly did again. It can win a Premier League, it might do again. But the bench is not firing enough. I mean, Rasmus Højlund, he has been nothing short of a disappointment. He has been absolutely diabolical. I'm going to try and offload him, because at the moment we have still got Xerxes, who I will say is actually somewhat outclassing him. So we might see what happens with them. Looking at the overall depth of the team, goalkeepers, we've got Onana and we've got Alte. Centre-backs, we've got Scalvini, Martinez and Gurhi. We've got De Ligt on the bench with, I believe, Yoro as well. So maybe you could argue bring in one more. Right-back, we've got Mazraoui and Dalot. Left-back, we've got Shaw and also Malacia. Midfield, Ugarte, Neves, Mason Mount, Morton, and obviously Kamara and Kobe, who seems to keep getting put back into the under-21s. I'm going to go and grab him again. When it comes to the wingers, we've got Rashford and Bowen. We've got Mount, Garnacho, Anthony and Sancho. That's pretty 50-50 rotation. Not exactly great options. And up front, we've obviously got this main man. We've got Højlund and we've got Xerxes. So we've got players in every position, but some maybe need a little bit better depth. And to do that, we've got a budget of, that can't be right, 33 million. I would imagine it's not updated. I would hope that's not updated. But let's get into Season 4, see what we can do with 33 million. Well, he was doing better than Højlund, but when you get an offer for him, I have got a listen, and it is going to be the previous Champions League winners are going to come in and pay 32 million for Joshua Xerxes. And you know what? For a player that's not designed to go and score 30-40 goals a season, he's more of a link-up player, he's actually done quite a good job. So it's sad to see him go, but I'm going to take 30 million. A small budget, that 33 million was all that we had. Yes, we got the money for him as well, and we decided to invest all of that into a perfect goalkeeper, which is going to be Treble, coming in for 47 million, and he has played a very good season. 19 clean sheets in 38 appearances. He has done a very good job, and once again, he's clear of Onana at the moment in this game. Onana is now the backup, meaning we can sell Alte. We have got 2 incredible goalkeepers. That position locked in. Into the Champions League final against Real Madrid this time. Just 1 goal, and it is going to go our way to be our second Champions League win. Marcus Rashford. Put up by the FA Cup final against Arsenal, where Rashford is going to be another goal scorer in the final. And again, it's 2 finals and 3 goals for Rashford. Also going to be your Premier League champions, being back-to-back. So we have actually gone over and won the treble I was after. We have got 5 seasons, so don't go anywhere, because we are going to attempt to do the quadruple, which has spoiled that I haven't this season. That's no secret. Victor is going to be the second top goal scorer again. Bernardo Silva in there this time, with Rashford and Bowen in joint second with the assists, and Treble actually 1 clean sheet behind David Raya to pick up rank 1. As you could probably tell from that statement before, we didn't win the Carabao Cup. We lost 2-1 against Liverpool, and the Community Shield we are also going to lose on penalties to Tottenham. So still an incredible season, a treble winning season, but considering we were in 2 other finals, if they would have just gone our way, we could have done the perfect 5 out of 5 sweep. But clearly we're not quite there yet. But I will say, a team that can win the Champions League, win the FA Cup, win the Premier League, are Manchester United back? At least in FM terms, they could be. But going over to the tactics, our best 11, of course, now looks like this. Treble gets right in, and it is going to be pretty much the same team. But the main thing is the stats. So you can see here, 57 goals from Victor, 28 for Rashford, 21 assists as well. 21 and 21 from Jarrod Bowen, 18 assists from Luke Shaw, 8 for Ugarte, Neves with 11, Diego Dalot with 11 as well, and even our centre-backs, 4 goals for Scalvini, 6 for Gurhi, none for Martinez, but still very good. We can't write off this guy as well. Mazraoui is going to come in and pick up 3 and 15, very good from him, and if we go down the list, I will say, not we've sort of got Højlund with 5 goals. We've got 5 from Morton, Sancho 5 and 4, 4 for Garnacho, Kamara 3 and 2. The first team is carrying the bulk load, but what I will say is, what I'm doing is I am coming in and out of holiday mode and locking in players for cup games and not, because I want to try and do as much of this United team, and at the moment we're absolutely cooking. So the 11 is the main focus, but I do think we've got one more window to obviously perfect this entire rebuild. Looking at this overall, I might look to bring in one centre back. I'm going to say the name now, so if I don't sign him, you're going to know what my plans were. I want Diamande because it could be a signing we make in real life, but I've tried the last 3 years. I can't get him. I'm going to try and get him this season by any means. I'm just hoping we've got at least 80 million. That will work. 110 million. Let's get into the last window. And one isn't going to be Diamande, it's going to be Alan Varela, coming in from FC Porto for 11.5 million. A backup DM. He comes in, plays 18, drops almost to 7. He's backup, he's cheap, he'll get the job done. Unfortunately though, that is a lot of money per week. A bit of a treat signing. It is going to be Elise coming in from FC Bayern. He's had an okay time at Bayern, to be fair, but they were willing to sell him. He come in for us, and we're talking Sancho numbers, so let's just get off Elise. Hopefully this man, it is going to be Diamande, finally coming to Manchester United. He cost us 67 million. He's come in and played 29 games and dropped above a 7.10 rating. So he has done well. Just look at him. He is quick. He's got good tackling. He's got good passing. He's got a good first touch. He can play right back. He can even play DM. This guy needs to come to United in real life. So if anyone knows Diamande, I know the chances of this is about 0.5%, probably lower than that. If anyone has any links to Sporting, get them to give him to United. We need him in the team. It's the last season, the last opportunity to win a 3rd Champions League. We are going to get things off to a blinder of a start in the round of 16, beaten AC Milan, not by many, but by 1 goal. And that means we were through to the quarterfinals, where we did face PSG, and we won 5-1 on aggregate over 2 legs. We have really turned into some team, which of course, in the semi-finals, put us up against Real Madrid, where we win 5-0 over 2 legs. Into the final against Barcelona. Things were looking quite good in this game, as you are going to see inside of 20 minutes. Marcus Rashford, the Champions League man, puts us 1-0 up, but unfortunately Barcelona aren't just going to sit back and accept it. Pedri is going to go through and equalise 3 minutes after that goal goes in, but we are also on the front foot again with Ugarte into Rashford, who scores again. That positioning from ter Stegen was awful. Barcelona equalise again. I mean, this was a proper clash of the Champions League titans, as we are going to win it in the 70th minute, a hat-trick from Marcus Rashford. Also going to lift that Super Cup 1-0 over Leicester. A boring game, but Elise got his goal. The Community Shield, not as smooth, though. We are going to lose to Man City on penalties. That's not ideal. The Carabao Cup, you've got to go all the way down to the 4th round to see us lose to penalties against Derby. The FA Cup final, we're going to play Blackburn. Firstly, big credit for them to even get into the final, but we are going to go 1-0 up inside of 4 minutes, and after that, we run a rampage in the second half. Gurhi into Neves, into Rashford, into Victor. If Amorim is going to play like that, give him a 15-year contract, because that was incredible. Mazraoui into Neves, over the top, into Bowen, goes alone, into the bottom left in the 53rd minute. The 58th minute, again to score another goal to make it 4. Very lucky, unlucky for Blackburn there, to be fair. 5 minutes after that, Neves wins it back. He's going to play through Bowen, goes alone to make it 5. And it is going to be a 6-0 win with Neves over the top, and it is going to be a header from Scalvini. We discussed everything apart from another Premier League win, meaning it is going to be pretty much 3 back-to-back now. 3, that is incredible, by the way. This year it was a lot closer, but luckily for us, Trubin turned up big time when it comes to the clean sheets. Victor scored 25 and Rashford is going to be joint second. So although it wasn't a pretty season, we got the job done, and we are going to finalise and finish on a quadruple winning season. A Premier League, a Champions League, an FA Cup and a Super Cup. Again, could have won the Community Shield to make it 5, and the Carabao Cup, I don't even want to know what happened, but I will say that has been a very, very impressive rebuild. And if you are interested in getting this save file and the tactic, and that means everything, you don't just get this one, you get all of my rebuilds and all of my tactics, access to monthly giveaways, and so much more, you can come and check out the Patreon and get that, where you're going to have £289 million to go and spend and improve this team somehow. My opinion, bring in some younger players so you can replace this world-class 11 as they get older. But to finalise this, 47 goals for Victor, 37 for Marcus Rashford, Bowen with 16, 15 assists for Luke Shaw, Neves with 11, Did we get anything off the bench? 12 assists from Mazraoui, Højlund with 3. The ghost of the video, though, I'm sorry, the ghost of the video is Kobbie Mainoo. I've promoted him 3 times now. I don't know if my assistant keeps sending him back down. Kobbie Mainoo. He keeps getting sent back down. I don't know what happened to him this video, but we dealt without him anyway. We got the job done. That is going to be a big improvement on Manchester United, and hopefully you have enjoyed a big amount of trophies being added, which means we are back to a 5-star reputation side. If you have enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you do want to see a 10-year version of this, where we might use a different manager or a different tactic, this video gets 50 likes with a couple of positive comments. I'll make it happen. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one.